Well, I'll never hear pig squeals the same way again. Deliverance, released in 1972 and is directed by John Boorman, who's also directed such films like Point Blank, Hell in the Pacific, Zardoz, Exorcist II: The Heretic, and Excalibur. And this film is starring Jon Voight, Ned Beatty, Ronnie Cox, and Burt Reynolds. And the reason why we're talking about Deliverance today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from a longtime contributor and supporter of this channel, Dr. Camp. Once again, you send in a recommendation of a film that actually turned out to be much better than I had anticipation for. It was a little slow going getting me into this thing, but then a certain act happens in here and all of a sudden my interest became very heightened because I'm pretty sure I've seen that scene before, not in film, but on the South Park cartoon when they were talking about the new Indiana Jones film. So if anyone else out there also wants to be like Dr. Camp and help contribute and support me on this channel, you can select the QR code that is in the bottom left corner of your screen right now. Send over your donation of $5 or more with your movie recommendation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, and give you a little shout out just like what I did with Dr. Camp here. Four white-collared businessmen decide to take a canoe trip in the wilderness of Georgia before this river is dammed. And as they're getting started, it seems that they are crossing a couple of the hillbillish folk in the area. And at one point in their trip, as they take a little rest, two of the men are held hostage at gunpoint, taken farther into the woods, and sexually assaulted by two local hillbillies. Well, the other members of their party come in and save them, and murders one of the hillbillies in the process. So now this easygoing canoeing vacation has turned into a race for their lives to get to their final destination before the local residents decide to take revenge and hunt these businessmen down and kill them. The film shifts into being a survival film, which I feel like the character of Lewis, who is played by Burt Reynolds, really enjoys, because when this trip gets started, he is the wilderness man. He is getting excited. This whole trip idea was his idea because this river is being dammed and all of this area is going to be condemned and bulldozed over. They're going to be putting in shopping malls and parking lots everywhere. And this is Lewis's last chance to feel at one with nature in this area and to feel like he is being hunted, or he is the hunter going after his prey. So when the sexual assault happens to a couple of members of his party and he has the opportunity to take one of them out, he doesn't hesitate at all, and he absolutely loved that he was able to do that. And you can see how Ed, who is played by Jon Voight, he is our main protagonist here, he's the main character that we're following. We can see how he evolves over this entire trip, because at first he doesn't have that killer instinct or that hunter, that survival man's instinct. But then when he's convinced that these hillbillies, these people with like two teeth in their mouth, that they're coming after them to hunt them down and kill them, all of a sudden that survival instinct starts clicking and he's able to pull that bow. Yes, he's still shaking a little bit the second time he tries it, but he is able to let go and really defend his camp. But then you also add another layer on top of this story, that this whole conspiracy of these people coming after them and hunting them down, looking for them, or people who are shooting at them at points, this could all be a conspiracy laid out by Lewis, who's getting that adrenaline rush and is saying like, oh, if someone falls overboard, it means that one of those hillbillies shot our friend, so we need to take cover and we need to basically play predator and prey. And you never completely find out if Lewis was telling the truth that someone shot one of their friends or not. I have a feeling that a lot of this stuff escalated for no reason. Yes, we had the sexual assault scene in there and then the murder that happened out of self-defense, absolutely. But them all agreeing on the lie of covering it up and just burying the body and forgetting about it. And that lie just starts a nice snowballing effect of more lies and thinking of other covers of their story, and it just snowballs almost out of control to when they get to their final destination. What a fun little thriller to be a part of. I wasn't sure how I was feeling at the beginning of this. A lot of the ADR I was not feeling, but you know, it's the 70s. A lot of the voiceover recordings didn't really translate well to the actual spoken voice and the performances actually on the scene in this area, but I can forgive that. Again, it's the 70s. It's one of my favorite things to see in film is when we're going along our story and it's nice, it's steady, it's true, but then all of a sudden it takes a hard 90-degree turn and we're going in a completely different direction. Our journey that we're going on is completely different. The motivation behind it is completely different than when we started. And this one has a great 90-degree turn. I love it. Some of the acting is a little over the top, gets a little over the top. Again, the ADR kind of goes in and out for me. We get a lot of grunting and a lot of moans and a lot of yells, but it's coming as if like they have a microphone in their hand and they're yelling into the microphone. And it doesn't feel like it's coming from the source that we're seeing on screen of these people in the canoe, sometimes off in the distance. And then when we get to the end and the police and the law enforcement gets involved, gosh, it was nice to be around in the 70s. You could get away with anything. I don't think DNA was a thing until like the 80s. So this whole situation, it's hilarious to see how easy it was for them to get away with this. And maybe it came to a point where this law enforcement in this area just didn't care. He just wanted all of this to be over because the society that this dam was being implemented in and all the bulldozing happening just wants it all to be over and just to wash under the board. He doesn't want to deal with the paperwork, I guess. Deliverance turned out to be a pretty surprising thriller that enthralled me and had some really cool performances. It was great seeing a young John Voight and Burt Reynolds in here. It's actually kind of weird. My movie viewing knowledge knows them in their older years, so to see them as young, strapping young men, it's kind of weird. It's kind of strange. But I enjoyed this film. I didn't think I was going to, and this film surprised me. I'm gonna give Deliverance 4 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I like it a lot.
So guys, if you've seen Deliverance, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I release the next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.